Zoe, who's going to take you through the session.
Perfect. Perfect. Thanks very much, Julia. Okay, hi, thank you. It's nice to have some Aberdeenshire training, feels like ages. So what I'm going to do, can you all see my screen? Is that okay? Can you see that, Julia? The
Yes, I
first
can see
slide
it.
there.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. So what we're going to do is we are hopefully going to outcomes are going to be you are going to have a better understanding of our maths fluency. Sort of our new this is the kind of kids side when they go on instead of maths training is maths fluency. So I'll explain a little bit about that using our fluency booster. And I will go, I know you're probably all quite familiar with the diagnostic, but I will just cover that again just with respect to the sort of fluency booster. It's always nice just to go over that and show the reports. And I'm going to introduce you to our new anti-rush system, which some of you may or may not have noticed. So this is where we try and stop kids from guessing as much and send them in a wee sin bin. And then there'll be sort of room for questions at the end. So just a wee quick session there. Okay. Okay, so our fluency booster. So it is our brand new, I say brand new, it was actually introduced in sort of February, but so it's our adaptive maths fluency practice tool. So this is when the kids go on and they're just practicing without, you setting the work. And it replaces the old maths training for those of you who used it before. And it is designed just to help teachers consolidate those core number skills. So just solely focusing on the core number skills and building that maths fluency, just with that ongoing and varied practice. And we recommend that you get your pupils to use it for about half an hour a week, if possible. So as I said, it's covering those core number skills. So this was a lot of the feedback that we were getting before with maths training. The pupils were getting, lots of different sort of strands and maybe getting stuck trying to master skills. So it's just helping them develop that fluency because that's the most important thing. And I think it's just to get those number skills down pat before going on to other things. And instead of just relying solely on sort of memorization, it's building up that number sense and just strengthening the relationships between numbers and helping them just develop flexible sort of problem solving strategies, hopefully. And so with the introduction of the Fluency Booster, when they're working on the Sumdog assigned questions, rather than the work that you've set, this is when they'll be working on fluency. So just to reiterate that, you can still go and set work, based on the full curriculum, but this is just when they're doing their little independent learning and their personalised learning journey there. So main points there, just building up their fluency with varied games practice, and then moving along a skill plan as they master core skills. And you can view fluency specific reports, which I'll show you in a second. And again, that 20 to 30 minutes a week recommended. So when you look onto your teacher dashboard, you'll see there's a new fluency section there where you can report on the fluency skills. I'll show you that in a wee second. So you'll still be able to set work for those areas, all those other areas on maths. And Fluency Booster is just for first and second level. So just to reiterate that's just for first and second level, so not for third level. And the core number skills that it covers is number and place value, counting and number patterns, number bonds, and arithmetic and subtracting. So it doesn't cover things like geometry, measurement, and statistics. It's faster and just more responsive than the old maths training. And there's no changes to the diagnostic or any of the other sort of features. And they will now be able to focus on mastering up to 5 skills at once. And so it's much easier just because, we have sort of drilled down into the core number skills. They're not focusing on other skills that perhaps they're not even working on or that aren't as relevant in the classroom. So they're not getting stuck there. Okay. So, what's fluency booster? So this shows you the sort of skills that and sort of relative to the year groups. This is sort of visual from England, but you know, I mean, these are what they'll cover in those different sort of year groups there. So all this whole numbers, comparing and ordering, rounding, all of those core number skills that are so important, especially for your first and second levels. Okay. And just go back here. So what it does, in a wee nutshell, help and develop and solidify those core number skills. And I'll keep sort of saying the same thing, but it's just to sort of drill that down there. So they can progress to the more difficult areas of maths. So there's no point in getting them to cover things that you know, are slightly more difficult if they're not even mastered in those core number skills. And developing that broad rounded number sense rather than building automaticity. It's a good word. And using that algorithm, that great Sumdog algorithm, creating that wee personalised learning journey again, so they're all working on their own wee level, on their own little journey, mastering their own skills. And again, just within those Sumdog games, that familiar environment of the Sumdog games, and getting those rewards, their coin rewards, you know, so they can do the fun part and get their avatar dressed and buy things for the wee house and garden and still give their wee pals. And it gives you key insights into areas for improvement with the reporting side. So what it looks like. So this is what the kids will see. So instead of maths training, it says maths fluency booster there when they go to log in. Lets you know which what they're focusing on as well. And it's in here. So that's their wee task list. So you'll see you've got their maths fluency booster. So this is what they will just go on and play. And they'll be reminded when they play the games that they are working on their fluency booster skills. Okay, so getting into the data a wee bit. Okay, so in the reports now, I'm probably going to use slides. I'll go on to our dummy site. I'm going to be honest, our dummy site is in the middle of getting populated. So there's barely any, if at all, any actual data on our dummy site. So there's actually more data in these slides, but I will just jump on just so you can see where they are. So if we go on to our familiar teacher dashboard here, you'll see there's a whole fluency section here. So if you click on fluency there, so here you'll see you've got your fluency focus report here. So again, you can see there's nothing on there, but if I go back to the slide, you'll be able to see here. So you'll see the skills that they are focusing on. So you see Adam is focusing on numbers to 1 million. Yes, sorry, that's 6 zeros, it's a million. We made a mistake with that before. And the number of questions that they've answered within each skill, and that accuracy percentage for each skill. So you can see here, you've got that little snapshot there. And if you go in and click on the full report, this is where you'll see that, again, sorry, not populated. And then if you sort of expand on that, it will give you the skill that they are focusing on, as you can see in here, there. Okay. And so that is basically that. So when they're going on and playing, you can go on and you'll be able to report on the skills that they're working on independently and the accuracy there and how many questions they have answered. Are there any questions on Fluency Booster before I kind of jump on and just go over the diagnostic side of things again? No questions? Is that all quite straightforward? Oh, all good, Julia. Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay, right. So again, what is the diagnostic? So this will be the starting point for the Fluency Booster. So much like before, when they went on and did their diagnostic, this would be their little personalised journey with their maths training. It's just the same, but it's on Fluency Booster. So just a wee reminder of the diagnostic. Again, sort of recommend termly resetting of the diagnostic. So beginning of summer, maybe in January, maybe after Easter, but it's entirely up to the individual teacher. It just keeps it current, and it makes sure that they are progressing. And with the reporting, you'll be able to see, previous diagnostic results, so you can see that progress there. So again, just a wee reminder, it's split into those two parts, 15 questions for that first sort of pre-numeracy test, and 40 questions on other maths topics. So the 15 questions, the result of that, that will determine what questions you get asked for in the main diagnostic test. So what it'll do is it'll ask the kids questions from kind of the year level below them in the 15 questions. And obviously if they ace that, which they sort of should if they're working at that class level, then they'll be asked questions accordingly. If they struggle with the 15 questions based on kind of the age level below, then they will be asked to do it again, but they'll drop it down a level even further. Again, you can, when you reset it, change the age group of the pupil, which I will show you. You're probably familiar with it. I have covered it in sessions before, but I'll just show you that in a second. Designed to be completed in 30 minutes. Always best to have just one diagnostic sort of reset session within the class. That way they're not going home and it's accurate. They're not getting helped by siblings or parents or anything like that. Again, pupils take the diagnostic in school. Okay, so multiple choice questions outside of Sumdog games. They can return to previous answers, but before submitting the results, and they can track the progress via the orange bar, so they can see, how far through the diagnostic test they are, and they'll be rewarded questions once. Who did these slides? They'll be rewarded coins once the diagnostic is completed. So when it's completed, they get 200 bonus coins. So it's a wee incentive for them. So I'm just going to jump back on and show you how to reset, how to change that age level. So if you know that you've got kids in your class that, although you're in a P5 class, they're not working at P5, they're maybe working at P3, before you reset that diagnostic. If we just go into here, so if we go on to the diagnostic report, oh look, we've got some data. Okay, so we're going to the full report here. So this is just your current level. This just gives you an overview. It's really here in the detailed results. So say you've got, this is a P2 class, but say this was a P5 class, and you know that David is not working at P5, he's working at, say, P3. If you wanted to reset that, you just click on the reset option there, choose David, click on next, and this is where you can change his age level. So you could change that to P3 if he was in P5, excuse me, my voice. So you can do that there. So that way that he'll be getting asked questions more, towards P3 level, and that way it's a much fairer footing for him, and you've got much better results, and he'll be working at his level and have that confidence there. I'm not going to do that because I'll get a row for meddling. So that's just a wee reminder that you can change that level there. Okay, again, just that main sort of detailed diagnostic level results, sorry. So you've got the kids' names, you've got the date of their last, test. So that's correct. So that was on the 27th of August. This means they're still in progress. This is the result. So this will show you. So David sat it on the 27th of August. P2, he's mid-early level. So he got 5 out of 15 in his wee pre-test score, 11 out of 40 on his test score. So David was struggling, really. It'll show you, it'll break that down into those strands. And you can also go in. So if you click on the test score there, it will give you David's individual diagnostic report. So you can see precisely the questions that David got asked and which he answered correctly or incorrectly. So what you can also do, if we just go back, if I click on David's name, so if you click on any of the people's names, then it takes you to their little profile there. So you'll be able to see a little sort of chart here of their previous diagnostic results. Here you'll have previous ones if they have done previous ones. So this is just a wee P2 class. It'll let you know what skills David's practicing. So David is practicing skills number to 5. So it gives you a little bit of that fluency there. No questions, but it would have accuracy if it was populated. And it would give you the hard skills. So any skills that David was struggling with when he is doing his fluency booster, it would show you these here. And then you can go back to that whole class report there. Oh, no, don't know what that is. Ignore that bit. So that is the reporting, just a little reminder of the reporting. You also have the progress report for the diagnostic as well. So what you can do here is you can kind of toggle on and off. Again, if I'll show you in here. So if you just go to your diagnostic, this is this one here, the progress report. Okay, so again, you can kind of, there's no results on here, but this is where you would go. And here are some of the results that you can get. So this is quite a nice visual as well. You can toggle on and off. You can have as many pupils on there as you like. It might get a bit busy though. So you can see here back in July 2023 that Molly this was starting 3rd level. October 23 down, and then July 2024 she has progressed slightly. So again, there's just three different ways, actually 4 if you look at the individual report, where you can look at the results of the diagnostic, and you can use that just to inform some of the teaching, maybe if they need some intervention, or if you want to set work accordingly, maybe on some of the little pain points, things they're struggling on. Okay. Again, that is just breaking down that individual report that I showed you there. That's really nice, again, breaking it down into those strands there. So always quite a nice visual as well. Okay, so that is just a wee recap on the diagnostic, and again, it's based on so that the fluency booster, which level they're at, and the little sort of journey on the adaptive engine is based on the diagnostic still. So there's no real changes there. Okay, our anti-rush system. So this has been a wee godsend, I've heard some teachers call it. One of the not so positive feedback that sometimes we've had from Sumdog, which is just sort of the nature of the beast, I suppose, is that it's very easy just to rush through and guess. Guess. We want that dopamine hit. We just want to get those coins. So we thought, right, we really need to kind of introduce some measures here. So this is what we've done. So basically, it's just designed to help the kids rush their answers, just to change their habits. So when we detect that they're hurrying through the questions just to get to the games, potentially just not concentrating, they'll see warnings that tell them to slow down, or they'll lose access to gameplay. So, you know, there is a forfeit there. So there's certain ones that you can't do, that it doesn't do some of the spelling, but it does do the just the main maths questions, the ones that are easy to kind of just rush through. So it's just detecting when they are rushing through. Very clever. So if they continue to rush through the questions and answer them incorrectly, after the warnings, they're temporarily removed from gameplay until they just start focusing on answering the questions again. So it's all about getting them just to slow down and really sort of think about their answers. As I said, it applies to the maths and grammar, but not to the spelling. It also doesn't apply to typed answers. So some answers which are free text type entry, because we just don't have a way to kind of detect that lack of focus there, really. And it's automatically activated for pupils aged 8 and above only. So this is based on the year group that they're registered on under Sumdog. So this is the first warning they'll see. So it will, Sumdog, giving it that. You've been answering too quickly and getting some wrong. Take a moment to think about your answers. 100% they'll ignore that. So stage 2, they receive a stronger warning at the end of the game. Slow down and think. If you keep guessing answers, you'll have to answer questions about the gameplay. So it is warning them that they'll be kicked out of the games, and then they're kicked out of the games. if they don't heed. And they are temporarily blocked from playing the games. So it's just questions, and they'll need to answer 15 questions carefully before playing the game again. Oh, that's part of the diagnostic. Oh, well, that's just an image showing you what they see when they start the diagnostic. So that is Fluency Booster kind of covered. Recap on the diagnostic, just explaining a little bit about the anti-rush system. So I'm just going to, there's a few sort of control live focus new features that we've added. So I'm just going to show you them while we've got time there. Unless there are any questions on the diagnostic or the anti-rush or the fluency booster that you want me to answer before I move on. I've only got a couple of minutes, but I'll just show you the new live focus, just giving you the controls. Okay. So you can control what the class works on. So we've got a live control panel and just giving you more control. So you can open and close the house, garden, avatar and friends areas. So just to let you know that the house and garden are closed, automatically closed within school hours. So it's you have the control to open that as a treat when they are being really good little angels. So we just go back here. You've got your live controls down here. So you've got your focus mode. So again, you can turn that on and off if you want to let them have a wee play about. You can also turn on and off the multiplayer games. So there's lots of multiplayer games available. Sometimes it can be quite distracting. They get really excited. They're with their wee pal. They're all trying to get on at the same time. So if you just think that's been too distracting, too disruptive, you can turn that on and off. You can focus on specific topics. So subjects. So if you want them just to focus on maths, you can control that they can only play on maths while they're doing their wee Sumdog time, or spelling or grammar. And you can also control tasks. So you can turn off training and maths fluency booster. So if you've set them tasks and you only want them to focus on teacher set tasks, you can do that. And then you can actually filter it to particular tasks. So if you've set them some tests, some practice tests, tasks and competitions, you can toggle them on and off. So you can decide which ones that they are focusing on. As it says there. Again, just showing you those live controls. And this is just some of the other reports that we've got on here, just so I would just show you these while we've got 5 more minutes. So we have got time this week, so you can see, you know, how many kids have been playing at school or at home. I know some kids might not have devices, but you know, if you want to see if they've been doing their homework, you can check whether or not they have been using it in school or at home. If we go into reports here, you can see time this week. So this is the report down here. You can click on the full report and it will show you how many minutes they've spent. And you can change the time, the date range as well. And it will show you time at school and time at home. And you can also see this activity summary here. So you can have a little look and see which questions that they've answered, how many they've answered, how many correct, the accuracy, how much time, which level they're working on, how many skills they've completed. So that's the class view. And you can also have a school view as well, if you want to have a look and see other classes within the school, or you know, if you are like a school lead, you can have a look and see how the school are getting on with some of those metrics there. And again, you can change the date range, and you can choose specific year groups, or you can even show individual pupils if you wanted to. So that's just digging into some of the features. Again, there's lots and lots of things on Sumdog that you can go and have a play about with. You know, again, you can reward your pupils if they've been really good. Again, those little angels, you can go in and you can give them some coins, up to 200 coins. You can give it to individual pupils, or you can select all and give it to them all. But anyway, we digress a wee bit. I just wanted to just show some of those little new features there. Again, we've covered those, covered that. There we go. So just a wee short one, not too much information. Just wanted to touch on the fluency booster and the anti-rush, and just a recap on the diagnostic. Okay, are there any questions before we finish?
All quiet, so people must be
All
happy
quiet.
enough. Thanks very much.
Either
I'll switch off the
sleeping or
recording.
happy.
Well, I'll switch off the recording in case people feel more comfortable
Yeah.
asking their questions.